Today we're going to install the RetraxPRO XR on this 2019 new body style GMC Sierra. Now this is the same install as the Chevy Silverado. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm going to show you what's going on with the passenger side. We're going to do the exact same thing with the driver's side. First, this sticker that's here, we're going to take that out of the way. That way we can remove this spiral. And that's just there for shipping. Once you pull that out, you can discard that. Next, this canister bracket, that needs to be removed. So we're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver. Now once we get this undone, we can discard the screw, but we're going to hold on to the canister bracket itself because one end of it's going to be used as a spacer tool. This end right here is what we need to keep, so we're just going to set it off to the side. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up the weather guard seal. Now these are typically locked, so what we're going to do is unlock it, and then we can press down this button. That undoes the latch. With the latch undone, we can slide the rail in. If you're trying to slide the rail in and it's not going in, make sure you double check your latch. All right, now this is the passenger side rail. How you can identify that is you're going to have a hole up on one end that's going to face the cab side. When I turn this upside down, you're going to see you got a little notch that's coming out here. It's got a threaded hole in it. Back here, it's going to come back out. You've got another threaded hole right back here. On the opposite side, you got a channel. That's the part where the blanket of the cover slides in. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this up, lift up the cover a little bit, and slide the rail into the cover. All right, we're going to rotate that down. It's going to go to the inside of the canister. We're going to take a machine screw out of our kit, use a Phillips head screwdriver, and tighten that up. All right, now we're going to go ahead and install our next machine screw right back here. All right, repeat the same process on the opposite side. Next, what I like to do to keep the cover from moving around inside the rails is I like to just take the cover and latch it down. That will keep it locked in the rails. Next, I'm going to take the canister cover. You're going to see you've got a couple of holes up on the top of the canister cover that are threaded. That goes up to the top, and then you'll also have a rubber flap that comes out. That's going to be facing towards the cab of the truck. What we're going to do is on each side, line up the canister cover to slide underneath the rails. The hole in the top of the canister cover will end up lining up to the hole in the top of the rail. Once that's lined up, go ahead and take your included black Allen head screw with your included Allen wrench. Get that in there and start threading it into the canister cover. And once that gets tightened down, make sure you do that on the opposite side as well. Now with the help of a friend, go ahead and lift up the cover and the rails, set it up on top of the bed caps. All right, we want to make sure that the cover is pulled all the way forward onto the bed caps. Make sure that the rubber seal is facing towards the cab of the truck, that it's not tucked underneath. And the edge of that rubber seal, kind of tuck it underneath the rail. And you should have a little excess going underneath the rail. We're going to trim that flush to the rail right now. All right, and trim it tight on both sides. All right, now we need to go ahead and align the rail to the tailgate. This is the canister bracket that we took out and we set to the side for later. This part of the bracket is 1/8 of an inch thick. We're going to use that as a spacer tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide that between the bottom of the rail and the tailgate. And then once that's in place, we're going to slide the rail to the tailgate to where it's flush up against that spacer tool. That gives us a 1/8 inch space between the end of the rail and the tailgate. Do that on both sides. Right now along your rail, you're going to have 4 locations like this, 2 on each side. You got 2 nylon adjustment screws. This is where your clamp's going to go. Now something I want to point out on these trucks, your bed cap down below is actually not solidly up against your internal metal flange behind that bed cap. So what we need to do, where each one of these clamps are going to go, is we're going to take one of our shims and put it up between your plastic bed cap and that metal flange. That way we're tightening to something nice and solid. All right, now this is your clamp assembly. The first thing we're going to talk about is the back side of the clamp. This is the part that goes up underneath your bed cap. Now, this is adjustable, and this is for just about every application out there. So I'm going to show you what I did for the GM truck. What you do is you loosen up these two screws. And for the GM truck, I moved it all the way to the top and then tighten the screws back down. You want to make sure this is straight and even along the top. If it's at a little bit of an angle, it's done wrong. You need to loosen it back up and make sure it's straight. Now, I brought it all the way up to the top. The main thing is that whenever you slide this up underneath the bed cap, this portion needs to touch the top of the bed cap behind the rail. That's what's the most important. So if there are slight tolerances, you might need to loosen it up, drop it down a little bit. But for the GM truck, I found that all the way up is where this one needs to be. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and insert this up inside the bed cap. This portion right here goes in between the two nylon adjustment screws. Hold it together by hand, and then go ahead and tighten down with a 9/16. Once it starts to get a little bit snug, push down on the rail to make sure it's seated properly against the bed cap, and finish tightening it down. Just get it nice and snug, no need to over tighten it. Now this portion right down here, what this does is it helps to keep the rail level under any kind of a load. So what we're going to do is we're going to just rotate this bolt to where this portion pushes up against the inside wall of the bed. Once that makes contact, then this nut that's inside here, we're going to run this to the clamp and we'll snug that up. Do that also with a 9/16. Repeat the same process in all 4 clamps. All right, now there is a plastic film from the factory that needs to be removed before you install the drain tubes. Once that's removed, you can go ahead and install the drain tubes. You've got a piece that just snaps right into the bottom of the canister. All right, make sure that's snapped in all the way so that it doesn't pull back out. The other end of the drain tube you want to route out of the bed of the truck. Now this particular truck has a bed rug, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the hole right next to where the tie-down hoop is, and I'm going to route it out between the tie-down hoop and that hole. This way, whenever runoff water comes out the drain tube, it's just going to go in between the bed and the bed rug, and it'll find its way out the bed of the truck that way. If you have a plastic drop-in liner, you can do the same type of thing there. If you have a spray-in liner, or if you have no liner at all, you'll need to drill a little hole in the bed of the truck to route the drain tube out that way. Do the same thing to the opposite side. All right, now just in case you're curious, if you have the Multi-Pro tailgate with that embed handle, the rail does not obstruct the action of the handle at all. Now we're going to go ahead and test the operation of the cover. Just press the button on the handle, it pops up, walk it back to the tailgate. Latch it down, then we can go ahead and pull off our quart pad that was installed for shipping. You can go ahead and remove those now. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online.